Hello, my name is Sierra Campbell. I did my narrative systemic review on teen emotional health, specifically anxiety and depression, in relation to social media, social networking, and cyberbullying. So I wanted to start with this. The teen years are a time of tremendous change. We know that, and because of that, we test for things like vision and hearing. So why don't we test our youth for things that are equally as critical, their emotional health? So that's actually the vision of What's Up Wellness, which is the agency that I'm doing my practicum at this year. Um, and their focus is to create supportive services for youth, specifically in high schoolers, to raise awareness of teen depression and suicide risk in our county, but also to kind of assess for that within the high schools directly. So part of what I do with What's Up Wellness is we do teen screen checkups. So Teen Screen was created by Columbia University, and it's it's a screening in which we can use to screen students for different mental health mental health areas. So we screen for things like anxiety and depression and suicide risk, eating disorders, things like that. So the mission of What's Up Wellness is this. We seek to normalize mental health as an important piece of whole person wellness, bring supportive services to youth who may have hidden emotional challenges, raise awareness of teen depression and suicide risk in our county, and encourage healthier families. So, as well as doing the teen screen in the high schools, which we like I said, use that teen screen program. It's a computerized program. Students will take the assessment, we'll review it afterwards, and then we'll meet with them privately to go over their results and connect them to any resources that they may need. And this is done for every freshman. The parents actually get it in their enrollment packet, get a consent form, and they sign it if they want their kids to participate. And then the kids are called out, and then they get to decide if they want to participate or not. It is a voluntary program. So What's Up Wellness has found and has researched through evidence-based research is that 8th graders have the highest rate of suicide ideation, and 10th graders have the highest rate of suicide completion. So 9th grade is kind of a really good place to reach students. And since it's a small program, we can't screen everybody, and so this really is a good way to reach students where they may need it the most. So part of the What's Up Wellness program is the screenings, and then another piece of that is groups within the schools. So these groups are aimed to minimize anxiety for students. So some of the groups are a mindfulness group, there's a boys group, there's a girls group, there's a music group, there's a dance group, and all of these teach ways to cope with anxiety using the different methods. So one of the groups that I became really interested in and learned about when I first started with What's Up Wellness was a social media focused group and social networking, digital cyberbullying focused group. So this group aims to discuss with students the effects of social media and social networking, and then to give students ways to cope with maybe stressors that come from social media, as well as ways to balance and have a healthy relationship with social media and with social networking, and to set barriers for themselves or boundaries for themselves within those areas. So that's where my COPES question came in. My COPES question is, if high school students or teens receive support in the area of social media and cyberbullying, would there be a reduction in overall depression and anxiety symptoms? So during my mini needs assessment, I interviewed uh, staff members, and two of the staff members that I interviewed are actually two of the founders of What's Up Wellness, and they both said in the interview that they wish that there was more support surrounding this area, and so that's why they created this group this year. I then used that to create my COPES question, and then to dig further through evidence-based research to see if this was actually something that was needed and how effective it could be. So during my research, I used keywords like cyberbullying and social media, adolescent, mental health, anxiety, depression to kind of guide my search. And it kind of narrowed down the articles, the 8 articles that I picked, into 2 groups. So the first group was dealing with cyberbullying, and the second group was dealing with social media, social networking, and kind of more of a general mental health, how they affect mental health in teens. So for the first part, cyberbullying, 2 of the articles that I researched and read and used in this paper or in this project were focused on cyberbullying and its relationship to traditional bullying, to see if there was a relationship between the two, or if cyberbullying was a standalone construct. So in those 2 articles, I found that cyberbullying is usually linked and goes hand in hand with traditional bullying. This is not always the case. There are cases of standalone cyberbullying, but for the most part, they do go hand in hand, and so that could be used to guide research or guide practice, sorry, because it allows for us to discuss with students their experience with not only cyberbullying and not treat it just as a standalone construct, but also traditional bullying as well, and to recognize that those 2 usually do go hand in hand. The final article that was within that cyberbullying group of articles focused on gender differences of those who participated in cyberbullying. And to my surprise, I speculated that it would be females who were more likely to participate in cyberbullying. I'm not sure why, I'm not sure what my reasoning was, but that's just what I suspected. But actually, this article found that males were much more likely to participate in cyberbullying. So this can also be used to address my COPES question, because we can focus our practice and our efforts especially towards males, because this is so much of a higher rate of bullying, of cyberbullying, but also not ignoring that it does happen within females, of course, as well. But this is something that people might not assume. I didn't assume that it would be males, so it kind of it helped me realize that maybe efforts should be especially for males in this area, but not solely. So the final 5 articles were focused on social networking, social media, and their effects on mental well-being, psychological well-being. So the outcomes of these studies focus mainly on the effects of social networking sites and social media usage on mental well-being, and the only one that deviated from that was one written by O'Reilly, which tested the effects specifically and focused on understanding perception. It didn't test the effects specifically, but focused on understanding perceptions of the effects of social media from teens specifically, and he did that by using focus groups. So the first four articles talked about social media in relationship to anxiety, talked about Facebook specifically in relation to depression and anxiety, specifically for those who already had a case of anxiety, symptoms of anxiety, and then also kind of some of the articles were just more general. So how did social media, social networking affect the well-being of someone? So two of the articles focused specifically on specific areas of diagnoses. So one was anxiety and one was depression. And one article found that Facebook specifically had a large effect on those with pre-existing anxiety disorders. And these effects were primarily negative, as we would kind of assume, but it backed up those assumptions. The other article focused on social media usage and depression levels. And that article found that social media usage could really affect self-esteem, and self-esteem was highly linked with depression levels. Low levels of self-esteem meant higher levels of depression. So this was really interesting, and obviously this goes hand in hand with my COPES question, and kind of can help inform us and help us inform our students and members of the group, the social media group, of the possible dangers of using social media or overuse of it. And then also, we can't assume that teens are not going to use social media whatsoever, but we can give them tools to create barriers or create boundaries when using social media or when using social networking sites or on the internet in general. So all of these findings were very important to consider with the COPES question. It can help guide practice, help guide further studies, and I just found that they were very helpful in creating possible ideas of how my COPES question could be addressed next semester or throughout the rest of my year here with What's Up Wellness. So I found that these evidence-based research articles helped to provide me insight to address my COPES question, which again was, if high school students or teens receive support in the area of social media and cyberbullying, would there be a reduction in overall depression and anxiety symptoms? So although the results were somewhat varied and each particular article focused on something a little bit different, there were some themes that came up within all of the articles. So some of these themes were perceptions of social media from students, which were primarily negative. Effects of social media on pre-existing conditions, again, primarily negative effects, as well as the likelihood that social media usage may negatively impact those even without a pre-existing mental health condition. So since mental health and wellness is the focus of What's Up Wellness, all of these findings and all of these themes are very applicable and relevant within our setting, and especially within the social media group. So for further practice with What's Up Wellness, I thought of a few ways in which these articles could help guide practice in the future for me as an intern at What's Up Wellness. So the first thing I thought of was that these articles could help, um, they could be presented to the staff, the rest of the staff at What's Up Wellness, to help them guide practice as well. I'm only going to be here this year. They're going to continue to do this program, hopefully for a long time. And so by me presenting what I have found through these articles and through this evidence-based research, it can help guide them in their future years of screening and groups. So the second thing that I thought of that could be done was collaborating with the group facilitator of the digital social media group. I know she has done a lot of study herself in this area, and so by collaborating with her, we could inform her group and other clients outside of the group as well of ways to set boundaries in social media usage and hopefully eradicate cyberbullying or at least minimize it. And the final thing that I thought could be done is to inform questions to ask in further focus groups to further study this issue and this topic. I'm hoping to be able to hold some focus group with teens to find out best how to serve them, what they feel is needed, and so these articles can help guide some of those questions that relate specifically towards social media, to see if that is something that clients are the teens our clients are even interested in getting support around. So that was my narrative systemic review. It was a lot of work, but it was very interesting and informative to read these articles and to think about how they apply to my COOPS question and then how that informs practice. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about it, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Thank you.